guys. Hello everyone and welcome to Friday. Hopefully you guys are having a great Friday and of course enjoying the price of Bitcoin movement all around, all over the place. So as promised, today is going to be a little bit of a short class. Also, we're going to be just looking at setups. Today is meant to be a recap on everything that we have. All right, so on everything that we have learned so far. So other than that, a quick reminder to click that like button. Really helps with the algorithm and also helps with me pushing more classes as we can. All right, so other than that, we have a great announcement. So remember that we've been talking about how to trade without indicators, right? With indicators, so on and so forth, oscillators, blah, 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 right? So how could you maybe practice other than paper trading, right? Maybe other than just fake trading. Well, what if you could actually win a prize, right? Nothing to lose, right? But actually being able to win the prize. Maybe we can factor in a little bit of that FOMO motion, right? Maybe that fear of loss, right, that we've been talking about. And of course, not at a premium cost for you. In fact, not at a cost for you, right? So that is the case right now. So let's take a look at here. Prime Academy. Let me see. Oh, I'm not sharing. Let's go to my charts. Here it is. All right, Prime Academy Trading Challenge, free to join, no cost at you, right? Real cash price. Register at, and let me just push it in here. So let me do Command V. There we go. This is the registration app at howthemarketswork.com. Register 337744. It sounds like an old-fashioned announcement on a TV. Password, use Piper Space Academy, just like it is being spelled here. Capital P space capital A in exclamation point at the end. All right, register between April the 11th to April 18th 2025, then trading up April the 18th to May the 19th. All right, so you can register till the 18th and you start trading up until the 18th. All right, so if you register today, today's 11th, well, you will have to wait until the 18th, and then you can keep trading till the 19th of May. First place gets $100, second place gets $50, and third place gets $25. Guys, nothing to lose, right? A perfect example where you can start trading live, put it into your knowledge into the test, and better yet, remember that I'm taking Q&A on the Piper Academy Discord. So whenever you have a trade set up, right, you can let me know, tag me on the Discord, please, right? Remember, at OC Guy, and I'm gonna be bringing it up on my charts every day at, well, whatever this time is. So for me, it's 6 p.m. I think it's EST, right? So other than that, let's go and let's jump in here with you guys. All right, so let me just shout out Alexander G that is in here early today. Thank you so much, Alexander, for being here. Also, guys, if you're watching today, make sure to say hello on the right chat right there, all the way right there, right? And also, so I can give you a huge shout out. Other than that, let's move into the charts and let's get started looking for some trade setups. All right, this is where we left out, right? Just a quick advisement, I'm gonna be working on a setup like this, but for free, with free indicators. At this point, we have the Piper Sniper. By the way, if you join Chart Prime with the Piper link, you get the Piper Sniper kit for free, all right? And then we're also using the Prime Screener just to get a basic setup. Let me show you how it works before we get started into the setups. So we have assets in here, right? And if you see, this is the Prime Screener. We have a couple of assets in here that tells us basically how the market is doing, right? Market health assets, right? So you can see we have the DXI, BTC dominance, SPX, right? Gold, total, TLT, and of course oil, right? Maybe I might be able to, or I will be adding here copper or something like that with metals, just to fit what I like to see right here, right? And then we have our overall settings in here. Let me see if I can remove myself from the chart. No, I know what to do. There we go, much better. And in here, we have the assets that we're following up, right? This has a configuration. Remember our setup where we have our SMA or we have our dynamic reactor, all right? So based on those two, we are looking for either bottom or top, above or below, right? Also, what is the last signal in here, right? So are we bullish based on the reactor? Are we bearish based on the reactor? What is the last signal? Remember I show you guys that when I'm using the Market Oracle Pro or Market Oracle Pro Plus, I'm using 43 for my trendy, right? This is where you start configuring yours. There we go, tuning at 43. So it shows you whether we are in a buy or a sell signal, and of course taking profit check marks. When we're seeing, for example, here sell, double check mark, and then we're bullish, means that we are most likely already bounced, right? For example, here Ethereum sell, double check mark, bearish. Well, maybe we have not yet bounced, right? So we should be looking in here in a possible bullish entry. Guys, this is to answer one of the questions that we had the previous class in how to look for assets, how to get ahead of the market to maybe, you know, like trade it on time, right? So this is especially how we try to do it. Then remember, you get the Piper Sniper kit for free. So this is the Piper Sniper kit, which also has its own screener, right? Just a quick review. We have the 4-hour Piper Sniper, right? Target lock and target hold, right? And then we have the 12 hours and the daily. What do we want to do here? What we want to see? It is basically look for an early entry here, wait for the target hold, then got a target lock, right? Both pairing. That is basically a swing long. This, the 4-hour, is going to be an early entry for our 12-hour. The 12-hour is going to be an early entry for our daily. And basically on the daily, you just let it snap, you just let it run, guys. So basically this is how we're gonna be doing it from up ahead in the next classes, right? I want to build up another screener for you guys so we can keep an eye on a couple of assets of your interest. We can go as degen as we can or as we want. We can go as conservative as we want, right? We can mix altcoins, we can mix metals, we can mix index, right? We can mix forex, whatever you guys want, right? But I will need your help. So also shout out to JL, welcome, hello and welcome, brother. So just a quick review. Remember, we're gonna be starting working in this at the end of the next week in probably 7, 8, 9, 10 days from now, right? Basically next upcoming week. First, we need to just get out of the way the complex scenarios from everything that we have seen. So you're going from 0 to hero, And now that you have everything to your disposal, a quick area or a quick sorting method to keep an eye on all of the important assets, right? So this is one of the things that I always have on top right on my screen. I'm always looking at this, and when I start having these kind of flips, this is when I start looking for trades. All right, let's take on this line right before we go into the setups, and let me show you another setup that I have here. Right, let me just get this out of the way and do crypto bubbles. All right, I'm also going to be showing you another one up ahead. So but in this crypto bubbles, I want to see daily and weekly. All right, this is basically an area that I use as a counter indicator. Basically, look at, for example, XCN, right? We talked about this. Oh, it was not on this in this class, but XCN, right, is huge. It have grown 124, right? It seems like it want to be popped, right? Look at Fartcoin, 72%. It looks like it want to be popped, all right? So that's why I use this as a counter indicator, especially on daily. For example, look at Bonk, 17%. It looks like it wants to be popped. All right, if we have a big red bubble, then we're gonna be looking for possible long entries or retracement continuation. Right, if we have a big green bubble, we want to look for retracement, right, for shorts, or retracement back in continuation. Right, so let's get started and let's go. Let me just move this out of the way and let's start getting into a couple of those. I think let's get started with Fartcoin, XCN, Bonk, and Jasmine. Oh, Jasmine, look, love Jasmine. All right, so let's move on here. All right, this is where we left out yesterday. All right, how we manage our entries. Let me clear this up, and then let's see what we got. All right, setups today, remember. So first of all, remember a trend line here, right? Then maybe another trend line here. Well, does it seems like we're going parabolic? Sort of. I mean, I could be maybe thinking of it right here. All right, now there was a weird sound, but whatever, let's just ignore it. All right, and then what we're looking for here is not a parabolic movement. It is just maybe a retracement, go back up, right? Something that I was talking about today in the class, it was the Wyckoff. Where is it? The Wyckoff, there we go, method. All right, let me show it to you. Let me just control retrace to, oh, what is it that big, man? All right, and then we're gonna be visiting, of course, one of my favorite schemes, the accumulation one. So coming back down, little range, V-shaped recovery, 70% chances of ranging. We did range, right? And remember, I show you, oh, I now know, I remember why it was so zoomed in. And now remember, guys, that I was telling you, hey, I'm gonna be looking for this area right here, right, this one, right, for breakout, retest, half of an entry, because I don't want to be missing out of anything. Off we go, and retracement, this is gonna be taking profits, re-entering here, all right, and then what? Full profits until right there. I'm gonna be exiting somewhere around here, taking profits halfway, and then letting it run. If it snaps to the upside, my next entry is gonna be at the retest. All right, username Crypto Pollo, what is up, brother? Welcome. Username, how is it going, brother? Welcome, thank you for joining. All right, so at this point, I believe that we are right here on the next retracement. Let me go back and let's see what's happening here. Let's go to the daily. Let's go to the 4 hour here, right? Let me zoom out. And remember that we're trying to catch, right, this one here as the range, the V-shaped recovery, very not cool V-shaped recovery, right? And then the range also not as pure as we would love to. But look at that. We have our first retracement. And then we could be going for our secondary retracement, all right? So we either already hit it in here, being number one on the lower time frames, or on the 4 hours, this being the number one retracement, basically this itty bitty one, and then we're looking for the next one in here. All right, so then we could be looking for the next one in there. All right, there is also a chance that we just break out all the way in here. So what would you be doing at these zones? Let's go back to the 15 minutes and let's do our quick analysis, right? So 15 minutes, there we go. We are already into a support zone. We have this trend line. All right, so how could we be maybe looking for stuff, right? Remember, this is where we could be having an order block. Let's see if we have an order block in there. Well, not an order block per se, because the order block is a little lower. Oh, well, kind of, because this thing is too big. All right, so, but also, what else do we have? I just saw it. Let me just get rid of this. All right, and let's see this one here. Oh, come on, where are you? There it is. And we have an accumulation zone or a big disparity zone. This is where usually dumb money fights for its place, right? So what could we be maybe expecting? Are we in line with any of the trend lines? Yes, we are. We are in fact in line with this trend line. We're also bouncing out of these predictive ranges. So this might not be coming to a surprise that maybe we come here, right? Maybe we even come to this area where we have a red line, where we have our dashed trend line, right? And then we see a flip of the ribbon. I know that in this case, guys, this is not about the breakout, it's about your retest, and off we go. That's why the next most important zone is going to be up there. This is going to be one of the schlong things, right? What is this? Schlong, basically a long and a short hedging this trade. We're going to be talking about that in a minute, right? Let's go back in some of the stuff that we talked before. This is, let's go to the 4 hour, the 4 hour, all right? And remember that we set up our entry zones and exit zones, right? Where do we buy and where do we sell? We buy low, we sell high, we take the middle for taking profits. Where are we right now? We are at the top of the selling zone. Let's take a look at our prime oscillator, right? Are we maybe having a flip of the ribbon? It seems like we have, right? But we still are on the green. What does that mean? That despite this moving downwards, the next upcoming movement should be a little higher before we retrace. It could even be equally high, right? So in the 15 minutes, that means that I could be going lower to the dynamic reactor. Where is my dynamic reactor? Here. It's right there, all right? And then having that as a support and then maybe pushing upwards. So what could we be maybe doing on the 15 minutes? All right, so that means, and I know this is getting a little messy, right? But let me just bring up Chunky Candles in here. Let me invite him over. All right, so that means, look at that. We already have a possible bullish divergence, hidden bullish divergence, flip off the ribbon, right? Maybe we can do a double bottom like in here. You see that? And we can do a double bottom like in here. So it would be making sense that we do it somewhere around here, right? And then off we go to then hit the previous high, and that will be our possible entry. Still, remember, let me just change of chart so we have also a cleaner view. There it is, the 15 minutes. Where is our order block, right? Where is our consolidations area, right? They are very close to each other. Look at that, also in support zones, all right? And where's my order blocks? Here it is, somewhere around here. So it could be making sense that we go all the way down here and up we go. Guys, there's a little caveat here. We have a trend line. We have a support zone. We could very much, all right, be taking this long. This would be, if you're going to be taking this long, this would be a half of an entry long, all right? If you're not taking this one, I would rather wait for somewhere around here, even slightly higher. There we go, somewhere around there, to then start looking for that break through the zero line. Remember, if you wait for that break through the zero line, you're not going to be late. You're going to be slightly late on this one. Breakout retest within 2 candles, and then a pretty good entry, right? Or if you want to take the risk, look at that, at the flip of the ribbon on support. Are we on support? Quite there. Not right now. Very, very, very close to that support. We already have flip of the ribbon. For me, this is a bearish flag, right? And if we measure that bearish flag, we could be going, look at where exactly, you see? So again, this comes to your decision, right? So basically, would you like to grab this opportunity? Are you okay with the risk this involves, right? Do you, right? Are you? If the answer is yes, all right, go ahead and remember the strategies that we have learned. Remember, one position. Do whatever you want with that position, right? Maybe half of an entry or quarter of an entry, another quarter of an entry, and then half of an entry. Set your smart stop loss, right? Why is it a smart stop loss? Because you're going to be looking for areas of confluence. Here is the greatest and biggest confluence. We have money flow, POC. We have a soft, very green order block, right? And also we have what? Our dynamic reactor, and coming in strong, our SMA combo, right? You see that one? There we go. So it's looking fantastic for a possible entry right there, right? Once again, let's just go over it once again, and then we move out of these coins. So out of the Bitcoin. So this is the trend line that we're looking for, right? Then our possible entry confluence zones, it is all the way in here. We're going to be looking for breakout retest or breakout bounce up in here, retest, then a possible short, right? And then after that possible short, we'll see what happens. If we are above the zero line, we continue our long, we close our short, right? If we are rejecting from that zero line, we close our long, we continue with the short. All right, most likely we're gonna be making a little bit of something like this. All right, be aware, weekend, low volume, so that also adds to the idea that we could be reaching all the way down there. All right, so let's do one more thing here. Oh, sorry, here, let me just right click in here. Let's lock this. Let's again right click it and add an alert. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is right click in this one and add an alert to my trend line in here. Remember that this trend line, it is the megaphone of the 4-hour trend line. All right, there we go. Perfect. Seems like we are on the way, guys. So where everybody was telling you, well, we were looking at a Wyckoff schematic. Guess what? It is playing out fantastically. All right, so guys, high five for you if you did follow the Wyckoff schematic. All right, so I see we have many new members here, not members, but you guys are joining like quick. Let me take a look at you guys. So JL already have shouted you out. Crypto Boy, of course, I already have shouted you out. The Queen of Mods, Alexander G, welcome to the class, of course. Username, my body in crime. What's up, buddy? Welcome. Harp, what is up, brother? Look at that, chocolate, nice. All right, who else we have? Harp, username. Hey, Redman, what's up, brother? Welcome, welcome. Jesse, brother, welcome. Great to see you around. I know it's a little late for you, but thank you so much for staying here around. Who else we have? Mark Dodge, what's up, brother? All set. Hey, all set. What's up, man? Welcome. Hey, we'll see you guys in fam. Welcome, all set. Great to have you around, brother. Who else we have? Hey, Trade Fly. Hey, buddy, I was on your show today. I dropped a like right there. I was also doing some cleaning in here around my office, so that's why I'm not engaged on the chat. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you so much for staying around, man. And yeah, absolutely. Who else we have in here? Hey, we have Jay Violet. All right, Jay Violet. Here's the thing. You see me talking with Piper, right? We have a full setup of emojis at this point, right? So it seems like we are in a fight for getting new members. So let's get them, right? Let's get those new members, and maybe we can get you your emoji. We'll see. We'll see. No promises because we need to get to those numbers, but I'll see what I can do. I promise, right? But still, remember, not a promise, not a for sure thing, but I'll do my best. That's what I can promise. Mark Dodge, what's up, bro? I already shout you out. Nonetheless, I mean, you guys are amazing. Who else we have? Hey, KDGD, what is up, brother? Welcome, welcome, my friend. And I think that's all of us at this point, guys. Now that we are a couple of us here, let me bring up another thing that I was talking about in the beginning. In the beginning, right? In the beginning, we have right here Piper Academy Training Challenge. Free to join, not a cost for you. This is with real cash prizes. If you guys are looking for that signal, right? That divine signal to tell you, hey, buddy, it's time. This is it. This is it. So just go ahead and let me just push this link once again for you guys. There we go. Just click it, right? Register. It costs nothing to register, all right? And then use the password Piper Academy, right? Just like you see it here. Piper, capital P, space, capital A, and then exclamation mark, right? Register between the April 11th, today, right? And April the 18th, right? And then you start trading on April the 18th. Again, this is gonna be fake money for trading, all right? But the first place gets a real prize in cash. $100 for the first place, second gets 50, and third gets 25. Don't worry if you're a beginner. Maybe you have that hidden talent, all right? So other than that, I mean, go full jam this. Take advantage of this, because this is gonna be maybe giving you that extra feature that we are willing, or that why we're seeking while we're training, which is the urgency, right? So is there real money in the line? Yes, I can maybe do those $100. You're gonna get the FOMO. You could be getting the food, right? You could be getting all of those emotions that you get while real trading. So do not waste this opportunity. Go watch it out. Go click that link button, all right? And also use your password right there. So great opportunity. Hey, 30, what's up, brother? By the way, if you don't know, that guy, 30, up in here. Oh, where is it? Up in there. Right, that is one of my buddies of Chart Prime, and he helps me out on the to manage the Discord and much more. So thank you for stopping by, brother. Really appreciate it. Great guide right there. One more thing, guys. Let's go over Bitcoin here. Let's move into a couple of stuff. I also was talking about a screener. We're gonna be building up a screener. So I want you guys to let me know which assets you like. I'm gonna be creating a new channel, or at least a new thread on the Piper Academy, and I want you guys to tell me what assets you want us to follow along. And then we're gonna be creating a system to tell us whether if it's bullish, if it's bearish, and then to have early possible entries. All right. So now that we have this, let's go and take a look at Fart Coin. Let's go Degen mode. All right. So let's go here. Fart Coin, we have it right there. Oh, I see we're not on ours. Let's move into our setup here. All right, better. Fart Coin, let's add it. Let's search it. Perfect. All right, it is moving. Do we have some structure on the 4 hours? Kind of. Beginning of it, right? What kind of structure do we have? Blow off top. Big absorption zone. Remember candlestick patterns? If you don't remember candlestick patterns, go check out our first classes before chapter 1. Don't worry, we're gonna have an advanced candlestick patterns, all right? Also remember chapter, I believe 5 or 5.1, and then chapter 6 and 6.1, we talked about how to use candlesticks, or better yet, their wicks, to be using as a tool for our risk management. All right, so a quick advice there. Hey, do we have all set? Oh, look at that, Alex All Crypto in the house. What's up, bro? Sending you good vibes. Thanks so much for joining, my friend. By the way, if you haven't yet, go follow up Alex All Crypto, one of the greatest traders out there. So big respect, brother. Thanks so much for passing by. Thanks so much for passing by. Just for you, we're going to be taking a look at symmetrical triangles on, what was it? Which one? No, it wasn't TRX. It was, oh man, it just went out of my head. I'm sure I got it here. You guys, I know you guys are going to be reminding XRP. I knew it, bro. I just was playing it dumb because I just wanted you to say it. Gotcha. No, for real, I did forget. I just was trying to turn cards on you. All right, so what we got in here is gonna be our blow off top in here. Laughing my ass off. Love it, bro. So we have a blow off topping here. Let's bring up chunky candles, right? Overweight candles in here. All right. And what else do we have? Do we have some structure? Kind of. Not enough structure. Can we maybe looking to burst that bubble? I would say that we could, all right? But we are in a strong uptrend, right? Let's go from the beginning. First of all, where do we have the liquidity? Something that Alex of Crypto, now that we have him here, teaches, and we also learned in the classes, it is about a parabolic movement. Remember what a parabola is? Don't worry, don't need to. The only important thing on this parabola is that we're going to be manually measuring our tangent, all right? This is how I like to measure my tangent. This is the last stance before we switch trends based on my parabola, right? Based on the trend line, which is the tangent of the parabola, all right? Having said that, where do we have liquidity as we go? Because remember, by the way, this is because Alex isn't here. Let me just shout him out. And I love how he explains this. So I'm going to be stealing that for a little second, right? Of course, mentioning that he is the one that explained it this way. So when we go parabolic, we create liquidity, all right? Where is that liquidity created? Usually it is where we have most of those candles. And what do we have there? We have dynamic reactor. We have SMA combo, right? We have a POC, money flow POC, and also we have a order block in here. But sometimes this happens, and this is important. Usually when we see this kind of movement, could be meaning two things: either fat pause of continuation, right? Since we're in chunky candles, fat pause of continuation, all right? And then, breakout, retest, because we also have a trend line in here, right? Retest, and then off we go. So the caveat here, it is that when we're losing the trend line, this is a parabola, all right? This is a parabola, but we can also fit a trend line here, one bottom, second bottom, right? Like this, and then we could be looking at this trend line. If we start losing this trend line, which most likely we're going to, all right, then we need to look for our next area of support. It's going to be the loud order block, all right? It doesn't matter if it's that bearish. It kind of does, all right? But regardless, we still have a 6% support, right? And 94% continuation. Depending on how this order block is arrayed, so this is a little bit of a Russian roulette on the arrangement of this thing, but depending on how this thing is arranged, we are going to be bouncing out of this 6%, all right? And if we're not able to make it a higher high, right, where we can grab from, we most likely are going to be creating either a lower high or a double top, all right? If we get a double top, guess what? Let's do that same exercise, all right? Let's figure out where is the parabola. Here's our parabolic movement. Let's draw our tangent, all right? Here's our tangent, all right? And then where is the order blocking here? Look at that, is at the very next candles below. Let's draw it, the very next candles below. Look at that, right? What happens here? Coming back down, not enough power to make a higher high. Therefore, we come back low, we make a double top, we're doomed. What are we waiting? Either breakout, retest, off we go, or lower high, and off we go. You see that? Same exact structure we're looking at here. Guys, I need to know if we're following up with these classes, all right? It really means a lot to me for you guys to learn. I really want to see you guys' success in the market. This is one of the simplest way that I can maybe guide you through all of my years of teaching. I think structure is the golden key. Adding indicators on top of your structure just makes it that much easier. Remember that I was telling you, hey, based on my parabolic calculation, this should be it. But thanks to the Market Dynamics Pro, I can see an actual order block being formed instantly. You see that? Let me see. I see new guys commenting here. Who else we have in here? JB, what's up, brother? Welcome, welcome. Shubi 750, what's up? Username, are you still here? Of course he is. Of course he is. He's just going for a coffee. All right, B Team Crypto, what's up, brother? Welcome, welcome. All set, of course, and all set A plus. Thank you so much, all set, for that feedback. It really means a lot to me. Roger that. Guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm reading the comments up there, and I'm very interested on you guys to follow along. All right. So, how can we profit out of all of these possibilities? Right? Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. Let's go for it. Let's hit it. So far, it seems like we are on retracement sections. Should we be jumping into for a short right now? I don't think so. All right. I don't think so. What could be my first short possible entry at a risk? At a risk, all right? It's going to be missing the trend. Remember that we have a tool that tells us the trend. Do you guys remember? What tool measures the trend? Hilly Pam, welcome, welcome. Great to have you around. Love it. Anyone? I know you guys know this. I know you guys know this. Come on, let me know. Let me know. What is the tool that measures the trend? Give it a try. Don't worry. Just give it a try if you don't know. Just put whatever. There's no wrong answers. In fact, you know what? Only wrong answers right now in the chat. What is the tool? BT Crypto. What's up, OC guy? Love you, dude. I love you too, my friend. You make complicate easy. Oh man, I'm gonna be screenshot that and then sending it to MJ. Dude, I owe you one for that. All said, trend lines. Yes, there you go. Love it. Olga, what's up? Hype, play, please. Hype, please. Hype, some hype. Hola, hola. All right, let's hype it up. All said, you are onto it. Yes, Alexander G. Boom shakalaka. Yes, you guys are right. That trend line, right? Easy peasy. I know it's obvious, but sometimes we get all right, higher highs, higher lows, BWAP, so on and so forth, blah 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 blah. No, straightforward trend line designed for measuring trends. When we lose the trend line, we're losing the trend. All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Don't do more than 4 legs for cat. All right, I know that is an awful translation, but if you're from Latin America, you know what I'm talking about. All right, nonetheless, what is our closest trend line? This one is, right? This one is. All right, so what are we going to be measuring? Loss of that trend line. If we lose that trend line, most likely it's going to be fast, all right? Or sort of fast, all right? Hopefully, we do have a big body breakthrough. There we go. So we can jump back in here. This is going to be a dangerous long entry. Nonetheless, this is a good entry point for an entry long. We're going to be seeking what? The next resistance. Where are our support and resistances? Oh, look at even here. So we should be also a little bit careful, right? To maybe overshoot, create a lower high. That's our short entry. This is our short entry. All right? That's our short entry. What else do we have in here? Predictive ranges. Loud order block as a support so far. Supports lower than expected. What else? What else? Oh, look at guys. Look at this. Oh, beautiful. All right. Look at that, man. It is just that fantastic. Remember what I told you guys. Knowing structure, it's great. Knowing what you want to be looking for, it's awesome. And now, look at that. With the ghost trend crossing, it is basically making the hard work for us. You see that? It already calculated parabolic movement. Ooh, look at that. All right. Let me just clear this up. It just calculated the parabolic movement. All right. And based on the actual numbers and not just geometry. All right. Because we're doing geometry here because we don't see the actual numbers. But based on the actual numbers subtracted, it created the tangent trend line. Look at that. Wow, beautiful. Great. Shout out to Chart Prime for that. All right. So if you have to do it, just do it manually. Who cares, right? Who cares? There we go. Like this. You aim for this low. Perfect. Doesn't need to be perfect. Don't worry, right? You can even grab somewhere around here. You can move it around. Who cares? You are the one behind the wheel, all right? Just get it as close as possible. It doesn't matter, all right? And then what we do, we grab a trend line here. We set up our base in there, and we just scoop it over. As you can see, it's giving us slightly different trend line, which is fine. This is another way to calculate it. That's fine. Geometrical wise, all right? And then we also have a, what? An order block. Perfect. So everything is coinciding also in this area of big support. So now that we have everything in line, we're going to be looking for, and come on, I just closed it. There we go. We're going to be looking for the trend line to be broken. If we broke the trend line, we're losing the trend. We're losing the trend, support, possible short. And then look at how bearish our order block is. So you think it's going to hold? If we already have consumed that 6%? Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. I don't think so. I don't think so. Unless we see new money being allocated there. All right? Which is the weakness of the order blocks. They're shifting like every second. Right? So when we have a actual flip of that numeric value, maybe we can be seeing some 94 turning into a bigger 6%. Does that make sense? So migrating from shorts to longs, right? So that's why you need to refresh it sometimes in a while, or right before taking a trade, right? Just make sure that you do that. Rick Mills, your teaching of the indicators is everything. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We're going to drop those likes and share the knowledge. Also, thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate it. Much love to you. Gordon, hey, Alexander. Oh, hey, Alexander. Gordon, welcome, brother. Hope you guys are having an excellent day. 10x my account this week. Holy moly. Really? 10x your account? That's freaking amazing, brother. Nice. Shout out to you, bro. That is amazing. Love it. Big timeout. All right, timeout. Man, when I get that kind of like improvement, this is just a personal, from the heart, right? From a trader to another trader, right? Be careful, because that's when I start getting too excited and start making mistakes, all right? So what I usually do, all right, is grab some of that 10% and put into my savings account at a 8.5 growing yield, annually yield, right? So it's still, it's sitting there making me more money, right? While it waits. And then once I have taken some risk out of it, I also reduce my leverage just a little bit, but that's on me, right? That's on me. It's not a suggestion. It's not an advice. Just kind of like a little comment of what happens with me. So maybe you can do some introspection and say, you know what, maybe this guy has a point. Maybe this guy is crazy, right? Remember, take what it's worth and then discard the rest, right? That's what we're here for. Gordon, of course. Love to see all the indicators. Any chance of getting a chart on screen? To what? Love to see all those indicators. Any chance to get a chart on the screen? Can you maybe, is that for me, buddy? Mark Dodge, let me know. What chart do you want me to look at? Because we do have a chart, aren't we? Fartcoin. All right, I'm going to keep an eye. On your answer, just in case that's for me. I really want to get you the chart. And let's also like take a look at the other one. I have a system and a streak to it, but I'm thinking constant profit. Oh, nice. Love it, bro. You know what you're doing. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out. That is awesome. Getting to that state, it is pure gold, bro. That's when you start building up the real confidence on your strategy, right? Nice. Love to hear that. All right. All good, OC. All right. All good, Mark Dodge. Let's keep it up. All right. So just to wrap it up, what's our plan? All right. Break through the trend line, looking for the long, the short long, not the short long, the small long, if we can call it like that, right? Maybe half of an entry here for possible continuation, bounce out of that 6% order block, right? Looking for maybe a higher high, slightly higher high, lower high, or double top. We already have the example in here, all right? If we get the double top, with what it's going to be defining it? Most likely this, all right? lost of the zero line. All right, we have a peak seeker, triple bearish divergence, and we are contracting on the clouds. Look at the clouds, how they're contracting. They're building up momentum, and if they are at the top, we usually see them breaking with that momentum to the downside. Where to? Where your big support is at. Where is gonna be my big support? Boom shakalak. All right, got it. Let's go to the next one. Which one? It's in line. Fartcoin. We already have breaking down. Let's go to and let's take a look at Jasmine. Why not? All right, Jasmine. Love it. Jasmine. Click in here. Perfect. All right. No structure here on the 4 hours. So if we don't have structure, we wait, right? It's not yet ready to be harvested. All right. So, all right. Are we feeling the FOMO? Be okay. You are okay. Don't worry. It's not going to go out. It's not going to left you out. Don't worry. If you're patient, your patience is going to be replayed. If you're, yeah. So where are we? Look at the threshold red line. We are on areas of reversal. All right. Areas of reversal. What else could we be giving us that heads up? Indicators, of course, but also there's another oscillator in here. There is our prime. Remember that we're looking to have the Heikin-Ashi one. All right. So do we have tiny candles? What happened next time or previous time that we were up here? Well, big candles. Not really what we were expecting, right? And then the tiny candles up next, switch of color, and off we go, right? So what are we looking for here? The tiny candles. All right, perfect. So do we have those tiny candles yet? Not yet. Could we be maybe DJing in here? I wouldn't suggest it, but why not? It's Friday, right? Guys, again, please, Friday equals the volume, all right? So let's not go too crazy. I know I'm super excited. And by the way, that's why this is because I have an energy and focus bubble gum. This is Neurogum, not a sponsor. Neurogum, dude, please contact us. And don't take more than one. All right. Other than that, let's take a look at the 15 minutes. All right. 15 minutes in here. We do have a little bit more of a structure, right? We can start doing, let me just turn off my Gauss trend line in here. We do see an up-ranging scenario. All right, maybe a little bit better like this. All right, yep. And what else can I do here? Ooh, I can do maybe something like this, or I can do something like that. Either way, this is a what? Guys, remember previous classes before chapter 1 where we talked about patterns? This is a what? This is a rising wedge. All right, usually this rising wedge breaks to the downside. All right, usually they break to the downside. What do we have? Do we have a possible reversal? Yes, we do. What else do we have in here? Let's take a look at our oscillator. Ooh, seems like we might be having a double top. Usually that double top brings up a higher movement. All right, but since we're going down, let's go and factor that in, and then maybe a further move to the downside. We need to be careful right here. All right, so this is uncertainty, but look at our volatility. It seems that we are going to be moving. We're still very bullish because we're above and far ahead of our oscillators. But remember, the bullish that we are, the more bullish that we are, the farther that we are, the closer that we are to the tipping point. All right, so we usually want to grab the mid. All right, or as Alex of Crypto points it out, the bonds are in a range. But we'll see that maybe ahead. All right, we'll leave that for Alex of Crypto to explain. Maybe we can invite him here into the courses. All right, dude, I have some of that gum. Oh yeah, do you like it? Let me know, bro. How many do you take at a day or at a time? Because I do coffee also. So I'm trying not to get, because I do get overdose of caffeine, and I get migraines, like very bad migraines if I overdo caffeine. But let me know in the chat. All right, so what else do we have in here? So possible further up movement. Are we going to be trying to get it? I say it's not worth it. Why? It's not that big of a deal. I mean, if we go all the way down and then we try to catch that high, 4%, all right, for maybe a 3-minute trader, could be worth it. Maybe at a 45 X could be. It's a little bit too much pushing it here Friday. We want to make money for the shots, right? Username, not for, we don't want to pay for the shots, right? We want the market to pay for the shots, not us pay the market for the shots, all right? So what we want to do is just wait for a relief rally or for a collapsing to the options that it's going to be doing, right? So what's going to be doing? Collapsing to maybe here or collapsing to breakout retest. Whatever it happens, we need to wait for it, all right? If we bounce in here, what's going to be our entry? Well, I would say the actual entry is going to be right here as we are maybe losing the median. Remember when I talked about the median? Right? As we're losing the median. But I would rather wait for breakout retest of we go. If instead we burst through, wait for the retracement, wait 1 or 2 candles, I want to make sure that we do not break back in. Because if we break back in, guys, this is the result. So I want to wait to maybe 1, 2 candles, jump in, and that's going to be it if we're going for the long, all right? We also want to see the flip of the rune to the upside, and we're pretty upside, so this will be number 2. This is, well, let's go for option B, and then there's going to be option A, all right? So we're prepared for that. Let me read you. Gordon, trailing stop changed everything for me now. I never worry about retracements. My profits, it's always locked in. Nice. Guys, this is what we've been also learning in the classes, right? Trailing stop. I usually do it, and this is the way that I've been teaching it. Let me know how you do it. But we usually go for first candle in profits. We move our stop to entry. Early entry, early take profits. TP number 1, and then TP number 2 or trailing. If we get to TP number 3, that's always trailing stop, or trailing taking profits with a trailing stop. Put that into 7,500, into 750 retracement, increasement, and take 50% profit every stop. Oh, love it. Guys, this is a caveat. What he's explaining, I also explain the same way, and I have some explanation to do. So if you go in with 100% and you take out 50 and then 50 and then 50, how could you ever take 150% out? Because we're not talking about the all of the position. It is just 50% of what is left, right? So just so you know, let's go, for example, let me just handpick something, right, to explain that. Let's just say that we enter in this retracement, all right? We set our stop loss on previous highs in here, important highs, give it that wiggle room, right? We are taking TP, early TP to previous highs. Are we still above 1? Yes, 1 full entry. Perfect. TP number 1 hit. All right. We take out, and this is $100 position. Right. TP hit, we take $50 out because that is a 50%. All right. Then TP2, maybe we take TP2 here. 50% out of what is left. What is left? 50 minus 100, 50. So 50 of that 50, $25, right? And then we just trail it until it just stops us out, right? And when we got a flip of the ribbon at support, what we do, we just rinse and repeat, right? So every time you take 50% out, you take 50% out of whatever you have left of your account, of your position, sorry, if that makes sense. Just to clarify a little bit on when we talked about 50%, 50, 50, 50, all right? So we're not taking out 150%. We're just taking out 50% of whatever is left, all right? So I stick to one price at tie to manage the stream as well. Nice. Narrowgum, hashtag Narrowgum. I love it, bro. What else? Never had that gum. Need to look into it. It has caffeine. Just so you know, if you're allergic to caffeine, don't take it. But it says power with natural caffeine, balance with L-theanine, maybe, infused with B vitamins. And yeah, pretty good though. Pretty good. So that's what it is. Not a commercial, not an ad. All right, let's take a look at what else. We already have dissected Jasmine, so we should be on it, right? So let's do one more thing in here. Let me just right-click in here. Let's clone it. I want a little bit of a buffering zone in here. Let's go for this buffering zone, right? I'm going to right-click and add an alert. Why? Because if I break up, I want to trigger not as I enter the retracement, but as I'm already breaking through, all right? So I can then go back for the retracement, if that makes sense, all right? And since we're pretty far away from this one, well, pretty far away, let's also add an alert in that one. Perfect. All set. All right. And today was supposed to be a 30-minute session. Man, I'm just having too much fun. All right, let's take a look at what else. One more time, or one more. Either Bonk or XCN, guys, on your call. Let me know. So let me know so I can pick one. Anyone? Anyone? Yeah, come on. XCN or Bonk? Which one? Don't worry, guys. By the way, we're going to be taking a look at Bonk. Perfect. We're going to be taking a look at the real examples with real money and real exchanges on trailing stop and all of that we have been talking about, right? I'm gonna be just transferring to a new account from Bybit. I'm gonna be creating a new account with you guys and transferring their $100, and we're gonna be trading it just to learn how we can be moving around in bluffing. All right, so that's gonna be perfect. Bonk it is. So let's take a look at Bonk then. Perfect. We got it right here. Let's go for Binance. Why not? All right, perfect. Do we have some structure? Oh, yeah, we do. We do. This is the 15 minutes. Let's just go for fun to take a look at the daily. Sorry, the 4 hour. 4 hour. We are also getting some movement here. We have a big absorption zone. Look at that. Are we getting ready to burst it? I think so. All right, we are getting into retracement zones at the oscillator where we have an overbought golden box, right? We could be waiting for the OB lettering right here, right? Just like we had right there. The OB is when we're losing that state. So basically it's taking effect, the overbought, all right? So that's why I usually wait for it. So is this a good area to start shorting? Not just yet in the 4 hour. I mean, if you want to do it, go for it with a lot of risk. But because, I mean, this could happen in here, all right? We can start slowly going up. If you don't calculate right your stop loss, you could be into a pickle before it dumps, all right? So it's not about the breakout, it's about the what, guys? It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. You got it. Exactly. So I know Mentos, says Mark Dodge. Mentos and Coca-Cola, right, bro? Try it out. Try it out. If you haven't, just put 2 Mentos on your Coca-Cola and your Diet Coke before drinking it. You're going to get boosted out of this planet. I promise you that. All right. And then, all right, it's not about the breakout. It's about the retest, right? Be careful with this kind of retest because Bonk is just nuts. All right. It's just nuts. How can we prevent this? Not really a prevention. We just need to be aware of where we want to take profits. Trailing stop will be a good opportunity to add in here, right? And then a possible just getting out of that trade as fast as possible. All right. All right, what is it up at this point? We're having also an indecision candle. Very nice. Usually when we retrace to the big support. Do we have any other thing other than our SMA combo? Let's take a look at that. All right, support all the way here for the last zone right there. Oh, much better. Look at that. POC. Great. We also have more smart money entry here. All right, right there. So be aware that we could even not reach this zone, maybe retrace here and do something like that. All right, be careful, especially with these low disparity zones. All right, so usually those are where smart money react. What else do we have in here? All right, we do have a parabolic movement and a tangent. So that tangent will be once again where we're gonna be looking for maybe that double top or that bounce to the downside. All right, so far we're bullish at this point, and this is looking a little bit more not to a short for a long-term short, but for a retracement to create a bullish pennant. All right, so this is what I'm actually expecting. All right, something like this, and then whatever it needs to do, either drop or pump. All right, let's go back to the 15 minutes. Why not? Let me just clean this up, and we already have that symmetrical triangle, or that kind of like a weirdo pennant, right? So let me wedge it as we have learned. There we go. Look at that weirdo pennant. And remember that the gold, it is within the boundaries. We want to look for what's happening here and what we're going to be breaking through. All right. So if we break below, be careful, because most likely we're going to be going to visit dynamic reactor. We already have a lower high. Are you able to maybe enter within a long position here? I wouldn't advise that, because we are making a peak. We don't buy tops. All right. Are we then trying to short this? Not really, because we're still above the 0 line. So what we need to do is just wait for 1 or 2 candles, see if we're going to be just faking out or retracing, or straight out bouncing from it. All right. So remember, the gold in here in these patterns are the trend lines, are the boundary lines. All right. So I think that we need to keep an eye on bunk. I think this could be maybe giving us a little bit of money here for the weekend. Trade the breakout at this point, not financial advice, but also be quick to take your profits. All right. I would say that this is a highly dangerous trade, but still maybe worth to be taken. We're not there yet, but very close to be taking it. All right, guys. So we have reached the end of the class today. Man, I really want to stay for that bunk trade. I'm gonna be looking at it. All right. I think this is gonna be a good one. Be careful out there. Remember, if you're not sure, either manipulate your entry. So your one single entry divided into multiples, set your stop loss, respect your stop loss, and have a plan. Remember, if you don't know how to use your stop loss as a tool for preventing liquidation, or as a tool for risk management, go watch chapter number 6 and 6.1. After chapter number 6.1, we have chapter 6.1, the recap yesterday, and the recap 2 today, just so you don't confuse them between them. All right. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for jumping in here. Coca-Cola, he says, oh yeah, man, Coca-Cola with Mentos. Diet Coke works the best. What else we have here? He loves crypto bubbles. I do, man. I do. Hashtag, I'm not going to be reading that maybe. oh, I got it. All right. OC all-nighter. All right. I was reading other stuff in there. All right. My subconscious, bro. All right. If you know, you know. All right. Thank you, OC. Thank you so much, Alexandra. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being around here, especially on Friday. It really means a lot. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. I'm giving my 100% to these classes, trying to go all out, not caps, not anything like that, right? All of my knowledge, making to the public version here for you guys, not only entertainment, but also education, so you don't have to go through what I went through, so you can just have, you know, the easiest possible way that I can give it to you, so you can start with a head start on the markets. I think the most important thing is community, friendship, and support each other. So let's do that. All right. So for this Friday, only homework will be go and hug a loved one and tell them, you know what, whatever you go through, I'm here to support you. As I'm telling you guys, whatever you need in trading, I'm here to support you. All right. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys this time on Monday.